What's up, fam of Liberty, and everyone else watching this video who isn't following our channel for some inexplicable, unfathomable, unknowable reason? It's your new best friend, Big Sarge, the artist formerly known as Admin Tim, founder of the Sons of Liberty. If you're new to our channel, I see you looking at the patriotic decor, the potentially clickbait video caption, the name itself, my luscious ginger beard, and you think like, this MAGA motherfucker. So let me go ahead and instantly identify where I stand on things. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck neo-Nazi sympathizer Elon Musk, fuck GOP politicians, and fuck the billionaire elite class that has its fucking boot on the neck of just about every American citizen. This channel and its comments sections are not a safe space for bootlicking simps for a convicted felon, adjudicated rapist, Wish.com fascist oligarch, failed insurrectionist, wannabe authoritarian tyrant, or the world's biggest supervillain manchild. Now you know where I stand on things. We good? Okay. So if you're still here, you're not frantically rage typing in the comments box like a triggered snowflake bootlicker who loves to bend over and receive Trump's mushroom pee-pee, then maybe consider following the channel after you watch this video. Or don't. I'm still going to do my thing. Today's video is probably going to be a lengthy video, but it's super important, so I urge you to watch the whole thing through to the end. Maybe twice. And share this with anybody that you know who's planning on attending one of the 18 January protests across the country. Today we're going to talk about what to wear to a protest or rally, especially in these dark times where both sides of the political spectrum can get wildly out of control for varying reasons. Before I do, I want to go over a brief history of protest in the United States. Just 4 years ago, a mob of agitated shitgibbons showed up in Washington, D.C. and stormed the U.S. Capitol, beating the shit out of law enforcement, resulting in several deaths on either side of that battle. I like to remind the MAGA cultists of this because they got hoodwinked by the billionaire and millionaire elites in this country who were dead set on continuing, by any means necessary, their absolute desecration of this country, its ideals, and its values. The MAGA cult of bootlicking simps for fascists like to pretend that it's the patriotic party, which is why I'm taking back the symbols that they culturally appropriated. This shit is mine, motherfucker. You can't have it. The side that claims to be the party of law and order is a fraud. They only care about law enforcement when it doesn't trigger their easily offended sensibilities. Let the political process play out and not go the way that they want, and suddenly they're ready to have another insurrection. Y'all motherfuckers know what happened the last time wealthy conservative oligarchs whipped up the uneducated masses? We had a fucking civil war. You know what happened in that civil war? Motherfuckers got beaten. Badly. They lost so badly that they were forced to beg via petition to rejoin the Union after they fixed all the bullshit that was wrong with their respective states. And yet, out of the goodness of our heart to reunify the country, we didn't prosecute the traitors. Go ahead, MAGA. Fuck around and fatally find out again. This time, we won't be fucking generous. Anyway, so we're going to talk about attending protests. You know, like the big protest that's happening in Washington, D.C. on 18 January, the People's March on Washington, D.C. There are also other protests that are going to be around the country, but we're going to talk about Washington specifically. Your boy Big Sarge will be there with some fellow flag-waving patriots and the Sons of Liberty. I hear you out there, oh, Big Sarge, I can't make it to D.C. Well, that's okay, fam. There are protests all over the country in solidarity with the big protest in D.C., and the fam of Liberty is legion. We have plans to join protests in other cities as well, and we're coordinating all of this off of social media. On that note, make sure that you know what the protest is about because there are counter-protests, like an anti-abortion march disguised as a women's march to counter-protest the women's rights march. Don't be in the wrong crowd. I keep telling y'all, get on Discord. Get vetted for our signal groups, not just trying to have you on Discord for my memes and shit. So, protest. The first thing that you need is a plan, and then a backup plan. And if you're watching our channel and you consider yourself part of the family of Liberty and you want to attend protests, whether it's in DC or some other part of the country, then you should know that Big Sarge and the staff of Liberty do, in fact, have a plan. You can find out more about our plans on the Sons of Liberty Discord server. Why don't we broadcast our plans for the whole ass world to see? Because as a combat veteran, I like to practice a modicum of something called operations security, or OPSEC. I have a whole ass video on the subject of OPSEC and how you can apply certain aspects of OPSEC to your life. Go ahead and watch it. I'll talk more about Discord and the resistance toward the end of this video. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to talk about in today's video, you'll find some links as suggestions in the YouTube video description on our Facebook page and on the Sons of Liberty Discord server. And Mikey is on my gear, so Mikey's going to say a quick hi, and then he's going to get down, aren't you, buddy? The next thing is comms. Comms are important. Comms, or communications, allow you to talk to other people. So the Sons of Liberty uses Signal for encrypted comms, and you can get vetted for our Signal through our Discord server. Speaking of Signal, you should definitely make use of the Verify Safety Number feature. That way you know for certain who you're talking to. We'll put up instructions on Discord. A lot of people like to talk about walkie-talkies, but those usually broadcast in the clear, meaning unsecured, where anyone can listen in or jam you. And one of my jobs in the military was actually electronic warfare and signals intelligence, which means that I was the guy who was listening to opposition radio chatter and occasionally jamming them. Now, yes, there are encrypted walkie-talkies, and those are like a couple $100, but your smartphone can download Discord, which has voice channels, and you can pair that with like AirPods or other earbuds. I'm using Anchor Soundcore earbuds because they also function as ear protection, which is important when you're around loud noises such as flashbangs and gunfire. Not that any of those things would be needed during a protest, because when has protest in this country ever turned violent? The next thing that you need to have for a protest is a good pair of running shoes or other comfortable walking shoes. If you subscribe to the protest tactic called Black Bloc, make sure your footwear is black. You may end up doing a lot of walking or standing around. If cops get super triggered by angry American leftists and start lobbing tear gas, you're going to want a haul-ass hyena. Yes, that's a Cramps reference. Speaking of tear gas, if you wear contacts, don't. Not to a protest. Wear glasses because contacts will be ruined by CS gas or OC spray, and that's a best case scenario. Worst case scenario, they can cause eye damage. And by eye damage, I mean like fuse to your eyeballs. And if you get sprayed by water, they could potentially freeze to your eyeballs. If you do decide to ignore Big Sarge's advice and you wear them anyway, if you're exposed, take them out immediately. Now, this being winter, it being cold outside, and there being a potential for a nor'easter or some other inclement weather, you're also going to want to wear warm clothing and protective gear. The Sons of Liberty hoodie that you see me wear in some of my videos, I'm shamelessly self-plugging that. Hashtag not sorry, not sorry. It's thick as fuck, like your boy Big Sarge. The hoodie that I wear is actually warm as fuck, just like my dad hugs. Since it's cold out, you're also going to want gloves, maybe a neck gaiter. A neck gaiter is a flexible piece of fabric that goes over the head and extends down the neck. In the military, I used to wear mine up around my nose so that only my eyes were visible when I was wearing my battle rattle. Kind of like a Cobra Trooper from G.I. Joe. If you know, you know. Anyway, the neck gaiter helps keep the wind from slicing down your neckline, and it keeps the lower half of your face warm. Now we're going to talk about gloves. Now, you can wear whatever the hell you want, but you need to bear in mind that certain gloves may be functionally useful for keeping your Delta Bravos warm. Well, actually, the term Delta Bravo is military phonetics for the letters D for Delta and B for Bravo. Delta Bravo is slang for dick beaters, or your hands, but are pretty much useless for other purposes. You can get gloves which keep your hands warm, but also have other functionality. I prefer these tactical gloves, which have hardened covers on the knuckles in case I need to knock on something and make loud noise. They also have special material in the fingertips, which allow you to use your smartphones. This may be important at a protest if you need to call 911 or use Discord or Signal voice channels or record police brutality. The next piece of gear that we're going to talk about is your backpack, and I'm also going to talk about hydration, since the two can potentially go hand in hand. At this particular moment in time, water is almost always a free universal resource and a basic human right. Now, not to get too political or anything, because when the fuck would I ever talk about politics? But the CEO of Nestle, Peter Brabeck-Letmathe, is accused in memes of saying that water is not a human right. That's not what he actually said. What he actually said was that there are two differing opinions on the subject of privatizing the normal water supply for the population. He characterized as extreme the opinion that water is a public right. Nestle, like other giant water bottlers, sources its production for pennies on the dollar, often in locations where water resources are scarce or challenged. Nestle boasts worldwide sales of $7.7 billion in bottled water each year. Anyway, getting back on topic, staying hydrated and having clean potable water is extremely important during a protest. You have no idea what will be available along the way, and opportunistic motherfuckers will try to sell you bottled water at a higher rate than it's actually worth. So you have a couple of options. I personally carry a black assault pack that has a built-in spot for a Camelbak water bladder. This allows me to carry stuff like spare clothes, including spare socks, because as an infantryman, your feet are your most valuable possession, and feet can get sweaty, which can be problematic in cold weather. With a backpack, I can also store bottled water or canteens so that I don't have to share my Camelbak hose with anybody. You can buy certain Camelbak and Camelbak clones that have the water bladder inside its own proprietary backpack, most of which have little storage pockets. Now, in a crowd of people, don't put anything valuable in these pockets for some idle hands to make devil's work on your personal property. Ladies, womenfolk, vagina owners. I know right now it's vogue and hip to be wearing leggings or yoga pants or whatever. And listen, Big Sarge loves the booty, and I appreciate y'all being comfortable, but those things don't have pockets. Want to know how I know? My wife, who has a fantastic booty, wears leggings almost exclusively. And guess who carries her shit in his cargo pockets? So get you some pants that have pockets, preferably lots of them. You can get some decent cargo pants at pretty much any place that sells pants, whether it's Walmart or Target or Old Navy. You can buy them online. You can find military surplus stores and other brick and mortar places that carry, say, 5'11" pants with enough pockets. By the way, Washington, D.C. does not recognize concealed carry permits from other states, aka reciprocity. So don't show up to a D.C. protest thinking that you're going to be all tactical like an operator, like some of these Boogaloo boys or other tactical manatees from Al-Qaeda and MEAL Team 6. On the subject of carrying things and crowds of people and valuables, get yourself an ID card holder that has a loop on it so you can hang it around your neck. I use one that has RFID-blocking fabric so that it blocks signals from radio frequency identification scanners. Some forms of ID and most of your bank cards have an RFID chip in them. Remember what I said about OPSEC? These are relatively inexpensive, so you can keep like a key and some cash with your ID. On the subject of OPSEC, before I forget, if you have biometrics on your phone, like face identification, during a protest, you want to disable that and use a simple passcode. Don't use anything obvious like the last 4 digits of your social or a date of birth. Mine has 5 digits, so of course I use 69420, which is my favorite set of numbers. Just kidding. That's not actually the number. Just some Big Sarge, not a human, I guess. Last 2 things that I want to talk about are the Battle Buddy system and the IFAK. The Battle Buddy system, or the Buddy Pair system, is pretty self-explanatory. You pair off with someone, generally someone you know and someone you trust. You stick together. If you have any medical conditions that necessitate something like life-saving medication, your battle buddy should know if you have like glucagon on you or if you're wearing an insulin pump and or CGM or an inhaler. I know some of y'all have conditions that you don't like to talk about or things that you don't need to tell the whole world, and I get that. But if I need to potentially pull you off of the field and try to save your life, be a pal and tell me. Anyway, so you can extend the battle buddy system so that your pair pairs up with another pair. Now you've got what I like to call a fire team, which is part of the squad. Now the IFAK stands for Individual First Aid Kit. You can find these at all kinds of places like sporting goods stores, Walmart, Target, Amazon, etc. You can get them at places like CVS and Walgreens. They range in price from anywhere like $25 to upwards of $110, depending on what you want in them. There's no set standard for what these things contain, but they almost always have a splint, some Band-Aids, and a pair of trauma shears or scissors for you civilians. I've seen some that have like a tactical pen, which can be used as a weapon or to break glass if you're trapped inside of a car. I've seen some that have box cutters or knives. I've seen some that have wire saws and a wrench screwdriver combination. I've seen some that have like a plastic poncho, which is important if the weather contains sleet or rain, or, if like sadistic cops turn hoses on people in freezing temperatures, which has totally never, ever happened ever. If you know basic first aid, these are things that you should definitely have because angry white supremacists have a history of doing dumb shit like driving trucks and cars into crowds, then shooting the place up. If you've been watching the news, shit has been popping off, and I don't just mean the white supremacist who drove his brand new Dodge Challenger into a crowd at Charlottesville a couple of years ago. In the past couple of days, the FBI arrested a Trump supporter in Virginia who had the largest assembly of explosives ever seized in this country in history, which is wild if you consider the U.S. taking over Fort Sumter and pissing off South Carolinians enough to bombard the fort. There was an Army veteran who drove his truck into a crowd in New Orleans and then started a gun battle. There was an Army Special Forces operator, also a Trump supporter, who drove a Cybertruck into a Trump hotel and then blew it up. And then there was a Trump supporter in like Idaho, I think, who put a pipe bomb on a railroad car. A trucker in Georgia who pulled over and said that he had a bomb. Like, what the fuck is going on? Anyway, I think you get the picture. Despite the fact that these motherfuckers allegedly won the 2024 election, they are still fucking insane. And I get that New Orleans was a Daesh terror attack, but the point that I'm trying to make is that being in a crowd doesn't make you safe, even when you're with the fam of liberty. Shit can still happen, so having an IFAK is a good way to make sure that if something does happen, you can potentially help. And even if you don't know shit about first aid and combat life-saving, you can still be of service, so bring an IFAK. Someone else may need its contents, and I can certainly grab a bystander and say, hey, put these gloves on. Now put your hands right here and press down. Because you know what rhymes with Big Sarge? Take charge. One more pro tip. Know your rights. Don't talk to cops. Simple advice. shut the fuck up. Record everything and then live stream it so that they can't delete the footage, but also because ACLU lawsuits. If you're not being detained, tell them to fuck off and then attempt to walk away. If you are being detained, demand a supervisor. Don't say anything else. Force them into a position where you make them tell you why you're being detained or arrested, and get that shit on camera. Get it live streamed. If they tell you some dumb shit like you fit a suspect's profile, call them on their bullshit and ask for that supervisor's supervisor. This is the one time to be a fucking Karen or a Kyle, Brad, Chad. If they arrest you, demand an attorney and don't say anything else. Shut the fuck up. If you think you're going to be arrested, turn your phone off. In a search incident to arrest, you can be compelled to unlock your phone with fingerprint or face unlock, which is why I said earlier to disable that feature during protests. But your phone being unlocked after repowered requires your PIN, and they can't legally compel you to provide that. That's my time for today. Join me and the Fam of Liberty on 18 January at protests around the country. The resistance starts with us. To that end, we've begun organizing local Sons of Liberty chapters by region. Please don't ask in the comment section if we have a chapter in such and such state or such and such region. Get on Discord, because rule number 1 of Sons of Liberty Fight Club is that we don't talk about Sons of Liberty Fight Club. I have this whole ass video on a subject called OPSEC, and this video has a clickable card earlier where you can watch it. And some of y'all need to watch it. Some of you need to rewatch it. We do all these things on the Sons of Liberty Discord server so that social media oligarchs like Mark Zuckerberg and Shadow President Apartheid Andy can't deplatform us or mute or censor our content. On Discord, you can also hang out with Sons of Liberty admin team, the staff of Liberty, the fam of Liberty. Discord isn't just a chat platform for bullshit. We have a section for gamers. We have voice channels. We have a section for January 18th protest information. We have regional sections with helpful resources for those areas. You can learn about self-defense, home defense, firearms discussions, ranges that are leftist friendly, victory gardens, preserving food, shit hits the fan contingency plans, bug out bags, vetted news sources, a channel for veterans called the DD214 Blanket Fort of Freedom. We have channels for posting music in your various social medias. You can get updates from our social media, which on that note, I want to point out our Discord can be ping heavy thanks to the webhooks that integrate our social media notifications from across our various social medias. You can disable that in the channel called Ping Roll. If you're having trouble on Discord, I have a whole ass YouTube tutorial on the subject of how to Sons of Liberty Discord, so you can watch that video first. The invite link to our Discord server is in the Throatpunch at the end of this video and all of our other videos. That invite link is also in the YouTube video description and in the TikTok and YouTube channel descriptions. If you like the shirts or the hoodie that I wear in my videos, some of them, but not all of them, are available in the Sons of Liberty merch store, which is listed in the link tree in our TikTok and YouTube channel description. On YouTube, it's also in the video description. I put up new merch all the time. I put up like 5 new shirts right before Christmas or right after Christmas. A lot of the designs and merch get added specifically because you request them, like the tank tops, women's cut shirts, the long sleeve shirts that I'm going to be adding hopefully today. If you like our video content, then guess what? We've got a whole social media presence elsewhere on multiple different places, so we'd appreciate it if you follow us on all of our other socials, whichever ones that you've got. The various socials that we have are listed in the Throatpunch at the end of our videos and the link tree, which can be found on the channel description. On YouTube and TikTok, we'd also appreciate it if you'd subscribe, like, and get notifications on our channel. It's a little bit of a different process, but if you're on TikTok, then you already know that. And fuck TikTok, fuck the Chinese Communist Party, fuck censorship. You can help us extend our reach by sharing our video content on all of your socials. You can help us beat the algorithm by leaving us at least 7 words in the comment sections. 7 words is the magic number for the algorithm to decide that your comment on our video, your engagement, is meaningful and that it should therefore suggest our videos and our channel to people who watch the same things that you watch. 2 claps and a Rick. See you at the party, Victor! Woo!
And now it's time for the Throatpunch!
It's thick as fuck, like your boy Big Sarge and my little friend Not So Little Sarge. If you have any medical conditions that necessitate something like life-saving medication is not even a fucking word, you dumb shit.